most of our resentments come from all kinds of wantings. So the one of the first wantings was wanting to have different environment in childhood, usually different parents, because as that book famous says, we made contracts before we came here to have the exact same parents and environments we had in order for our soul's lessons. So many times those connections are very challenging and have a deep mark on our later life. So when you let go of wanting and when you realize that you always had more than enough, that you now have more than enough, and that you will always have more than enough, it's pretty much easier to let go of that unnecessary baggage that most people are trapped in. Uh, Accompanied by the anger and grief about past and fear and anxiety about future, it can usually be very, very, very overwhelming. But awareness of that simple fact that you always had more than enough, that you have more than enough, and that you will always have more than enough as long as you're here, brings such a relief because you're no longer trapped in that contract with desire stuff, because desire is nothing more than a contract that you signed up with yourself to be unhappy until you fulfill that. And how mind is tricky and plays games. As soon as you fulfill one, the other one comes, and you do that and the other one comes, and you do that and the other one comes. So it's just a never ending feeling of some huge void that eventually can't never be filled. And that's why most people who spend years and years in doing so end up very miserable, sad, and depressed. So one of the main examples recently was that story of that singer who fell from the balcony of hotel room. So he had seemingly success and money and fame and whatnot, but was he happy? No. So we are brainwashed to believe that search in the outer is the right search, but it never was, it isn't, and it never will be. Learn to anchor yourself in that most powerful place which you always carry with yourself in your being, in having a good relationship with your true self, and you are blessed to live the life of freedom. Freedom of all cares in the world, because when you are in good relationship, real relationship with self, you stop caring what others think about you, because you become aware that they are not even aware of what they are thinking in their own heads. So you don't care about that. That's huge freedom. You don't care about all other things that bother people, because you are protected, safe, guided from the most powerful force, and that force and that power is the power that made you. Infinite intelligence that made all this in the world, that keeps us from crashing to something, and you think that you are more powerful than that. No, you're not. So let the ego goes and let the infinite intelligence work for you, work through you, work with you. Always better than you could ever imagine what is for you possible. When things seems to go wrong or not going as you plan, just stop pressing the gas and brakes at the same time. Most people are doing exactly that, and then they end up in creating even more resistance and end up in primal state for days, weeks, months, some even for years. Our natural state of being is the state of power, not primal state, and your job is to train yourself to have a bulletproof mind and to stay in a state of power more often than you used to, and to train yourself to eventually end up living every day 24/7, 7 days a week, as long as you're on this journey in the state of power. State of power is not our natural state of being. Primal state isn't. Primal state is resistance, anger. Anger is only poisoning you and can have huge health damage. Then you have jealousy, you have fears, you have comparing to others. So that all is a primal state. State of power is simply faith, trust, and knowing that even if you are facing some challenges, those challenges too are blessings in disguise. So I know how darkness looks. I know how it feels that you can't move, that I'll never forget those 2 times when they're taking me to the elevator and we're going to, first time they carried me, but second time I went with my own legs to the elevator, and that feeling when I'm going into the surgery room and when they are giving me anesthesia, it felt like I'm falling down to some, I don't know, I'm very brave, but at those moments I felt like my legs were cut off, and we are going, me and nurse, in the elevator down, and as we are going down I just felt like my legs are, it felt like they're disappearing. So it's completely natural, and it's a human response to being aware of what's coming next. So as someone who went through literally death and rebirth twice, you have more than many reasons to be grateful. You're still here, hopefully with no pain, because I know how it feels to be in a constant pain, how it feels to not being able to move, not being able to eat. Literally dark, dark place for many years. So if you're healthy, you should literally wake up every morning and sing, and always be aware that what you have is some people's dream. Always count your blessings and find reasons to be grateful and find reasons to celebrate more often than you find reasons to complain.